2, 1, 0, 0, and liftoff.
Just doing my thing.
Thank you for tuning in to the Voice of C38. I am Brendan Wyatt. Seems like we're always missing somebody. Today we're missing Matt, but Brian's here. Hi, guys.
Aloha.
Colin.
Man, it's nice to be back.
Sup? It's good to have you back.
And the Drunken Monk.
Well, met.
Even with a little bit of auto-tune.
Is that what we're calling it now?
Yeah. I'll just get since I don't have my They Might Be Giants plug available. We'll go with auto-tune.
Auto-tune Austin.
So yeah, well, hi crew.
I gotta quit watching that.
Yeah, the delay just messes with you a little
it does.
bit. Yeah. So, all right. Well, yeah, wrong button. See what happens when there's no Matt? I get all the technical stuff wrong because, I'm doing it from one side of the room to the other. And yeah. All right. Starting 11.
Hey, we didn't lose this week.
Yeah, but does that matter? I mean, it
we're
was
not
kind of
there
a
yet.
must-win
We're
game.
not
But
there
yes,
yet.
we will.
Sorry.
We will get to that. I'm trying to hold it professional at least for 11 minutes. Maybe
Good
10.
luck.
Are you gonna rant today? Am I gonna be witness to a rant?
Well, you know how to get me set off. I mean, so it just depends on what questions are asked or what topics we go down. And we are going to talk season ticket prices a little later on and kind of,
That should cause a rant.
yeah, as well as there's a deadline to stop that auto renew as well. So, which is kind of ironic with the timing of the transfer window and
I know not of what you
window
speak.
yeah. Anyway, so, all right. There was a handful of soccer that happened to go on, and as I look at our scores here, which ones do we want to talk about? Anything pop off the score table that wasn't
Dallas
ours?
lost.
Okay, so yeah, to Philadelphia. That's 2 in a row for them. When you consider Vancouver kind of destroyed them a little bit last week.
Sounds like that New York derby was a good match. I didn't get to watch it, but
with Dallas losing 2 in a row, does that make you feel a little bit better about the Rapids going to Dallas this week?
It does make me feel a little better, but not confident.
I mean, until they show they can score more than one, and
2, you mean?
we're 0-8-1. I mean, until that changes, I don't count on anything, to be honest.
Yeah, it's really hard to root or count on anything else.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the New York Derby, it's always been pretty interesting to watch. Every time I've caught it, I didn't catch it this time. Didn't really watch much soccer this week. I did watch the All-Star game.
Still on my DVR.
Yeah, is it still going to be on your DVR next week?
No, I should get to watch it this weekend.
All right.
In between bike races, so
Okay.
I know what happens. I mean, don't worry about spoiling it.
Montreal beat Orlando. Me.
That sucks. Dang it. Montreal sucks.
Actually, real quick,
Yeah.
we should bring up the MLS homegrown game from
Yeah.
last week.
Since we did talk briefly for 2 seconds All-Stars, we could talk a little more about Courtney Ford's performance in the homegrown game.
Yes.
I didn't see the whole game, and I only saw the highlight of this phenomenal long-range header. So it was a great header. It was a great just way to end the game, and kudos and hoorah for Ford. What do you think, Colin?
Ford played a great game, and he got the MVP at the end of the game because he deserved it. So,
How about we've had 2 center backs score this week? Last week, sorry.
Right. One in a homegrown All-Star game, one in the game that counted, and Axel with the foot, too.
That
Not
was
like,
sweet. That was on the nutmeg.
That was pretty awesome.
I know, Austin. We're getting to that later.
Yeah, we're getting to it later. Let's try and pretend like we're going to
But
be
really,
on top.
look at the rest of the scores. Seattle 4, Minnesota nothing. Chicago 4, New England 1. Sporting
Hey,
Kansas
Salt
City,
Lake tied, so they didn't
Atlanta.
win.
Yeah, Salt Lake and Houston were zeros. San Jose and Columbus 2-1 San Jose, and then Portland it stomped on the Galaxy 3-1. So
I actually watched that game. That was actually a pretty exciting game.
I saw the end of it when it seemed to get a little fiery.
Scored in like the 5th minute. Galaxy tied it up like a minute later, and then they got a second goal that was actually removed through the VAR.
Finally.
Zardes had a handball, and before he scored, and they said, "Nope,
Well, that's
no
good.
goal for you."
Good to see that put to use. My mom kept asking every time some little flopper happened to just, kind of go down. Where's the VAR? And I'm, Mom.
Trust me, you don't want to see it that often. Did you guys talk about that at all recently?
No.
I mean, have you kind of heard about it or gotten much of the gist of it? Or
Well, yeah, of course it's. I mean,
'cause it's
I
been everywhere.
understand the signals, and yeah, it'll refresh and kick in, but basically, it's when it's a questionable goal or a play that could determine something about the game.
There's like 4 instances that they'll look at it.
So
Use it.
when some guy goes flopping because we reached out to touch him, doesn't mean that they're going to go reach into the VAR. Sorry, Mom.
And when your jersey
they're
gets
not,
pulled in the
and-
box, you don't get the VAR to look at it.
right, yeah,
Like, it seems to only be there for when a call has been made, not if a call hasn't been made, which I think is the problem
which is
a
true.
lot of
Yeah,
times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, well, a red card's given, and then they go review it. Okay, but how often does that really happen? Goals, obviously, but, like, I don't know. I just feel that if you're going to have it, and I'm not a huge fan of it because I think soccer isn't football, but
Throw ball.
if you're going to have it actually be a positive influence on the game instead of it being used very minimally like that. Like I just don't think it's going to be properly used, if at all.
I mean, a couple of the instances are just stupid. I mean, how many times do you see it? Mistaken identity, seriously, and goals. All right, how many times do you see a ball bounce over the line and out that's not called a goal? Once every 2 years?
well, and that's maybe kind of their way of saying it's not going to ruin the game. It's not going to turn it into throw ball, which
Maybe that's
is fine. So if
their taste of it.
if they want to just the tip, that's fine.
Nothing wrong with that.
Can't be any worse than the disciplinary committee.
I would like to discipline the disciplinary committee because they blow.
I just don't understand any of that at all, and there's no sense to me going there because I would just look like a fool, worse than they do. But it's pretty rough because this game was a good game except for the reffing, and I'm talking about our game since we're
okay.
kind of there now.
So we
So we're
rolling.
going to the post game.
We're rolling in
Yeah,
there.
I mean we're kind of there. We skimmed
Nice.
over the other games, and I think when it came to this game this weekend, a lot of it was this is a must-win game. I mean, if you really want to continue to tell us we're going to go for the playoffs, and if you want the guys and the players to believe that they can go for the playoffs, that was a game they had to win.
Can we start being honest with ourselves now?
Well,
No,
I was
Okay.
we're
a
not
couple weeks
mathematically
ago,
out.
but
I'd like to think we're always honest with, like, us are always honest, but man, I've felt a tonal shift in a lot of people the last couple of games.
Well, it's hard to deal with this because if we weren't in lap, basically at the bottom of the table right now, that result wouldn't be a big deal. We played a good game, had a couple mistakes, specifically due to one player, in my opinion. But if we weren't as far down the table, it wouldn't have mattered. It would have been more of a, okay, we're a little saddened by it. Since we have to win basically 2/3 of the games now, it does matter. And so losing that one at home when you're going to be on the road most of the end of the season, and you haven't won on the road yet this season, like that basically destroyed any pretend playoff spot we were trying to fight for.
Yeah, and let's you just made a slip there, but I think that's exactly how most people feel. You said losing that one, it was a draw, but it felt like, yeah, you lost points, but it felt like a lost game.
It did. I mean, it was and you know, Austin may say it was, you know, one player's fault, but honestly, if we could just put opponents away and stop trying to play the close game,
yep,
it wouldn't be on one player or one mistake or these aren't the types of guys that you can leave it down to one mistake.
Right.
I mean, we talk about
or overcoming
our roster and who we have, and we don't have these kind of types of players, and we don't have these types of players, and we talk about the salaries and what we're paying, and we don't have the type of players to leave it all on the line for 90 minutes. But we do have, I'd like to think we do have players that if we just let loose, maybe we wouldn't have to worry about one mistake in the back towards the end, even though, you know, when it came down to it last year, we didn't really have many mistakes in the back.
I mean, I don't fault anybody.
Different guys, but I also have an issue with Marlon Hairston not being played a right back. How can you sit there and go on record saying Marley's one of the best right backs in the league, but we're not going to play him there? But then when we put him there, not only is he like solid and rocking it, but we're going to put him there at the end of the game when he's already got rubber legs.
Yeah.
He's freaking useless there at that point. Even not useless because he made a clear impact once they put him back there, but it didn't. Why are we not playing guys where maybe they're best suited?
I thought a couple of guys were useless, but I mean...
Well, say it, man.
I think, first of all, I want to back up a little bit. Is Austin going to tell us who he thinks was at fault?
It was DeFont. I think DeFont is the weak link in that defense. He kept that guy on sides on the second goal. He did help score our first goal, I think it was.
Yeah, kind of, but yeah.
But he was also part of the first goal of theirs. So he was involved in both of their goals, and he just seems to be a weak link, and I feel that there has to be somebody better.
He's playing right midfield.
Yes, that's exactly it. He's playing right midfield. I don't understand it. And well, no, I do understand it. And my mom didn't understand it, and I told her, I was like, Mom, Pablo picks guys based on their attitude, their mentality, not their skill. Otherwise, certain guys like DeFont, who plays like him, who just, you know, really kind of just, Pablo likes the guy. And he's getting a run right now. And it's unfortunate because it should be Marley at right back and Eric Miller at left back. And my dog just made it so that we almost should clear the studio for a minute. Oh, that's the type that'll just derail a train of thought.
It's burning my eyes.
Oh my.
Brian, stop blaming it on the dog.
No, for real. There needs to be like some sort of ventilation fan. I'm kicking the dog out. Oh man. Take it away, somebody.
If that was me, it would have ended up pooped in my pants because dang.
One of my friends who's new to soccer, I'm slowly getting him into the sport here. Even he continuously looks at DeFont and just asks, why the hell is he a starting player?
Yeah.
Because he has been a weak link on the defense the last several games he's been in.
He literally costs us at least what I would consider a half a goal to a goal game based on his misplacement or not being able to keep up or diving in a little bit too hard.
Yeah, just poor decision making.
He reminds me of Jared Watts a few years ago. It's that guy that just makes really, really stupid mistakes. Like when he's on his game, he does a good job, but he makes so many of those stupid mistakes that it's not worth it yet. Have him come off the bench, play him in send him to Charlotte, do something with him where he can get better, with some game time, but stop putting him in our starting lineup when we're struggling already.
Yeah, and his mistakes make the difference between a win and a tie, or a tie and a loss. It's not just the difference between a 2-1 win versus a 3-1 win.
We walk a fine line as it is and can't afford, like you're saying, you don't have enough to make up for occasional
Oops.
oh shits. Yep.
One bad decision.
But it's not even occasional. It's literally
It's
at
routine.
least once a game, if not multiple times in a game, where he's making poor mistakes. Like that's actually worse than Watts used to be.
And it's crazy because, he got benched at halftime.
Well, I had a
And
yellow
that's
too.
what the third
Right.
time that's happened.
But usually with other guys, like Mikael Williams, he'll tell you,
I know.
if you had a bad performance, it's a while before you see the pitch again. But it doesn't seem to be that way with Defon.
Which when are we going to do our list of who won't be here for sure next year?
Well, I was also going to bring that up kind of soon, too, because something
weeks.
else we might want to think about is expansion draft. And who gets protected and who doesn't.
We've got a little bit of time until we need to cross that bridge.
Right, but it might help you when it comes to thinking about how much money we might have come in the next season.
Well, the only reason I said that because Mikael Williams' name came up, and he ain't going to be here next year.
I would be shocked if he is.
Super shocked. Anyway,
He's not going to be here. I hope Powers isn't going to be here.
I digress.
I think that might be an unprotected person.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it. That's $300,000. Like you don't have to worry about anymore.
And he's literally on the bench, barely playing any minutes, and he's costing more than like 4 of our starters combined.
And did he even make the 18
Mm-hmm.
for Vancouver? I don't know if he was.
Shit.
Midfielders were Boateng and Dylan. Cerna.
Oh shit.
Calvert and Gordon. Defenders were who was it? Maybe he was on there. Anyway,
Pablo or McLeave hopes that Pablo won't be here, but
Yeah, we know Pablo is going to be
the
here.
only way
Like,
that's going to happen is if he quits.
yeah, he's got
Like,
2 years left.
Think
now.
about it. Think about when was the last time a coach was really fired?
Gary Smith.
Well, he wasn't really fired. They didn't really come to a term on new agreements, and he kind of left.
Yeah.
He wasn't
He wasn't
fired.
renewed, right?
Yeah, he wasn't. It wasn't
I thought he still had
renewed.
a year left on his contract.
I think
No.
the last
Paid
guy
out
to get
another
fired
year.
was Hankinson.
Clavejo.
Fernando got fired?
Yes, because I was kind of calling for it before it ever happened, but that was the last time that I can remember a coach actually getting fired. And it goes throughout like KSE. Only recently did the Nuggets fire their coach, but Waugh had to quit. And then
Well, because they don't
George
want to
Karl
spend
had
any
to
money
quit.
on that.
You know,
They literally don't.
that's
That's
not a
the spot
position
that-
that they spend a lot of time firing anybody at. Look at what the whole controversy with Jeff Fisher and the Rams, and look at how long it took for them to pull the trigger on that. And they were almost forced to by the media. And that's over Brian's head because that's throw ball. But
Off my radar.
and
So I guess
Yeah.
let's get more on a topic of what
you
we
can hope
do.
though.
What can we do? Let's assume that they don't sign anybody in the next
24 hours. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be the
So-
the
Oh,
that's
safest
almost a
assumption
given
you
for
can
us.
make. Like that's like sitting there saying that that's 100% guaranteed.
Dude, that's
I
up
mean, I
tomorrow.
knew that
That's-
coming this last weekend when I heard that Parig was at the All-Star game. I'm like, we're not signing anybody.
Although it was officially made public that Johansson is departing Werder Bremen yesterday.
That doesn't matter. We're not anywhere near where
That
we need to
doesn't
be in
mean
the
anything.
account.
I'm just trying to give you that glimmer of glint of hope.
that hope.
Yeah.
False hope is
You know
worse
what's
than
funny?
hope.
Rapids can't sign anything that quickly.
Rogue One's on Netflix. I just watched that. How many times did they talk about hope in there and everybody dies
I
at
need
the
to
end?
watch that.
Oh,
Don't, damn it.
It's like Han Solo
So,
dies.
Yeah.
So from chat,
Dumbledore dies.
wants to know we have rumored $2 million in TAM next year. What should we do with it?
I think pay a couple of reporters from Voice of C38 would be good. I'd toe the company
New
line.
I second that.
crew.
I second that.
I'd toe the company line for some of that.
I've been working for free for 4 years. Just make sure I get my credentials next year. I'm good.
4. Shit, try 15.
Yeah, 5 years now. What should they do with it? Well, ideally, they should put it to action, and not leave us to question when will it be used. And it needs to be done right away. Like the sooner the better. Like show urgency.
Isn't some of it going to be used on Aigner next year?
Yes, some of it is going to be used on Aigner because he's going to be a TAM player next year, which is smart. You obviously want to open up as much as you can for new players coming in to strengthen the squad. But you show us, since this window is completely gone to shit and it's another promise broken. I mean, we've got people on record before they stop talking to us telling us the promises that were going to happen. None of them have happened. So at this point, don't promise us anything. Just show us stuff and let's be urgent about it.
If we've got, so you assume, so let's say we have 2 million TAM without us doing anything right now. Part of that's going to go to Aigner. We're also, let's go with an assumption that Powers isn't going to be here, so that's 300,000 cap.
Add a mill for Kevin Doyle.
Kevin Doyle.
Do you
Doyle's
think
at
he'll
like
be a full
1.4.
mill, though? Do you think Kevin will be a full mill, though?
No, he's not coming back. I'm saying open up that salary.
He's
okay.
actually at like
Sorry,
1.4, so we're actually, so you're pushing 1.7 million there, opened up space between just those two, amongst whoever else we get rid of. So you're looking at nearly 4 million, maybe 5, depending on some other players. You could get something good with that.
Now, would you be happy with 1 star or a couple good, like, solid dudes?
I'd want to see probably 3 or 4 of that go to one person, and then bring in some people to help out the rest of our lineup. That's what I would like to see, because I think that we really need, especially to try and get any kind of fan base coming back next year, you're going to need that. You're going to need somebody that's expensive.
So how much are you going to overhaul? How much are you going to get rid of? Like number of guys this year versus new people next year.
Well, technically, we're only calculating 2 guys being removed.
Right.
And one of them doesn't even play. And one of them technically would be replaced by this star player as a striker or a number 10, either way.
And do we count Juan Ramirez as being gone?
We have to count Juan Ramirez being gone. 'Cause that's a big label coming. And,
that was just a smart ass
who knows
comment.
what he got paid for that. I mean, that's true.
That
I
dude's
forgot
laughing
about-
all the way to the bank.
Oh, I know, right? And Bank's not far because he's back at home. We have some audio from Kevin Doyle, actually, since we were briefly talking about Doyle and kind of the future and what that may pertain. Hopefully I don't have to go running across the room to the soundboard.
No, hopefully not. It should be loud enough. Yeah, it's like I say, nothing earth-shattering, unfortunately. I was just trying to get out of Kevin any indication of... Because his deal is up at the end of 2017. You guys know my feelings. I'm a total Doyle homer. And I think this lineup would seriously miss a player like this, both on the pitch and off the pitch.
Yeah.
I've talked to more than one player who said, and I've talked to the parents of a player that we all know. Mm-hmm. This guy is the ultimate DP. He works his tail off. He doesn't bitch. He's got no ego. He's a professional in every true sense. This is the guy you want on your roster, but unfortunately, it may or may not happen. So
nice intro.
There you go. Anyway, here you go.
Nice man crush.
I honestly can't answer that. We are undecided.
Okay, that's
basically.
fine.
I spoke to different people at the club about it, and I just said, "Come, we'll talk about it at the end of the season. See how I am." physically, mentally, wife and kids and all that side of things. So there's no panic on it. There's no rush, and I will see how I feel at the end of the club. But I'm sure the club will see how they feel as well. It's a two-way thing. But from a personal point of view, I'll decide at the end of the season.
I just wanted to be the first one.
And that's the truth.
There you go. So he was being open, truthful about it. So I mean, I'm sure they will wait to decide, but I don't know. He didn't really say, "Oh yeah, man, I'm back." So that doesn't have my hopes up, which sucks.
He's gonna have to take a pretty big price cut. Like he's gonna have to take a pretty big pay cut for that. I think because like he's produced and like we see because we're much more knowledgeable fans than most. So we see what a number 9 really is doing and how much work he puts in and what he creates. But he's still pretty expensive. And so he probably needs to take a pay cut to stay here, in my opinion. And I'm a fan of him. I think he does a great
most
job,
guys would
but
have to take a pay cut to stay here.
Yeah.
I mean, in
Just
general,
one
like
point-
that's kind of how we
one
work.
point whatever is just too expensive.
Especially
Yeah.
when he turns 34, I think next month. He said.
Yeah. But I mean,
And he understands
if
that.
you're happy and this is where you want to end, and you think you've got a little bit more time in you, maybe another year, you want to be a part of something that might be good next year, you sign a 1 year for something with some incentives.
But what price point would you put him at?
Well, he could easily be part of your TAM.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a real good point. I don't know. I think the only way he stays is if Porig asks him to stay because they probably have a pretty good relationship.
Right.
You know, he personally say, "Hey, Kev, I need you for another year. Here's some TAM money."
Would you take this?
Yeah.
It's more than what we gave JJ.
We'll see.
I don't know. That's all up to the puppet master upstairs and what he's allowed to work with.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it,
Just throwing that out there.
he's done a good job with what he's been allowed to work with. So who knows what he's going to really be able to work with and when and yeah, how Doyle is. But yeah, McLeave thinks $500,000 for Doyle next year, and that was kind of about what I was thinking.
Yeah, that's probably about right. I just see the bones of this team going to next year without him makes me nervous.
Well, I heard and
Because who else is going to do what he does?
when I saw the Aigner signing, I thought Aigner on one side, Gashi on the other, and Doyle up top. That could actually really do something.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard Pablo say pretty much almost the same thing. So we'll see. But unfortunately, I don't think Aigner's got 6 games in him this year.
Nope.
So there really isn't a whole lot to see, especially if KD isn't going to be sticking around.
And who knows with Gashi? He's been in and out of the lineup. I mean,
You're right. We might be lucky if we see 6 games out of Gashi this year, or 6 more games.
6 more games.
Yeah, and I'm not talking home games. I'm talking the rest of the season. And speaking of
we only have 4 more home games.
yeah,
I think 5.
So I was just going to say this would be a good time maybe to talk about season tickets.
Whoa.
And the drop, the
On that
number
note-
drop there, because there's going to be some number dropping, whether it's in numbers of season ticket holders or numbers of what season tickets are worth. Colin did some good research, so there's my intro, dude. This is kind of your thing, and I'm really proud about it. So yeah, take it away, man.
Hold before that,
All right.
let me ask real quick: is everybody else here and in chat a season ticket holder other than Glenn Zima? And myself, of course.
I don't know about McLeave.
McLeave is, but he's going to switch over to 108.
So
next
he's pretty
year,
much
is
going to
the
do
rumor.
what I'm going to do? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. I was just curious. Go
And
ahead.
that's my plan right now too. I had tickets in the northwest corner, and I'm moving to 108 next season.
Nice. All right. Take it away, man.
All right. So I did some research on basically what kind of season ticket price can you get for all the local games around here. And I looked at both college and professional sports across football, hockey, basketball, lacrosse, baseball, and soccer.
Everything. Like, this is
Varying
awesome.
degrees of success with it. Some of them, like especially the Broncos tickets, I couldn't make heads or tails of what it was actually saying, to the point where I don't even believe what they were saying. So take this with a grain of salt here. So I got games per year, what the low and high end for a season ticket is, and what that amounts to per game. So what do you want first, good news or bad news?
Bad news.
Okay.
Well, bad news is we're definitely not the cheapest ticket in the area.
That's the bad news?
Was that the Mammoth?
Yeah.
Well, the cheapest
Rockies.
is actually probably, well, for professional at least, it would be Mammoth. You can get a season ticket there for less than $9 a game.
Dang.
Wow.
There's a reason. Nobody gives a shit.
That's also true. But the good news is we're still, for a season ticket, we're still pretty good price-wise.
To an extent, yeah. When you compare it to some of the other markets on the, in the Denver market, which you should do, and we should have given Austin this picture so he could have put it up on our Twitch feed. But there's quite a lot there when you consider, where we are versus, we're pretty much kind of like bottom middle. We're right there with the Rockies. But the problem is
for a professional team, we're on the better end of things.
Yeah. But when you think about the resale value, you're not going to get your ticket for the same price that you paid for it, and you'd be lucky if you got it for $10 under face value.
Oh, absolutely. When we have so many seats available, you can't sell your ticket for face value. You just can't.
So it's almost not worth buying season tickets if you know for a fact you're not going to make every game. Like if you don't if you're not that die hard, I'm going to make sure my vacations aren't in soccer season. And even if someone dies, I'll make him schedule their funeral the day after. We're all going to be hungover too. Because otherwise you're paying for missing games.
Are any of you that guy?
Well, I may not. Well, this year, I don't know. I haven't missed one yet. And being that there's only a couple home games left this year, I don't know. It just kind of depends on what October looks like. But
I miss away games usually, but not too many home games. But at the same point, you see it all over all the forums we watch. People are like, oh, well, instead of buying season tickets, I'll just go on Flash Seats the day of and buy tickets for half the price or less than that.
yeah,
But a lot of those people aren't, first of all, sitting in one of our sections.
right.
That's a little bit different. There's a huge price jump between our sections and those of the Rapids. But I like having my seat, my specific seat where it's at. I don't like to jump around the stadium. I go over to 117 to hang out for half of a game sometimes, but I like my nice spot right at basically midline.
I like it a lot.
And I like it a lot. So, and Brendan, in your situation or former situation where you were having to sit in under the shade and up in the handicap area and that kind of stuff like that, you have to really have, I guess you could probably get it done, but that's kind of a risk you'd take technically if you didn't, because you really needed those seats.
Well, with my situation and how I'm looking at it, I needed those seats because of more of the shade and the ADA, because I had the one gentleman that was in a wheelchair. Now my other gentleman, he'll sit. He'd prefer to stand, but he'll sit. It would be nice if I still had ADA, but we don't have to have the different type of weather where we can switch sides now. Plus, each gentleman was able to pay for their own season ticket, and the other one made more, so it didn't really cost him as much, and it didn't matter. So this time, I'm a little bit more conscious about how much money I'm saving, and plus to be a part of the experience. Not only am I saving money, but I'm adding a better experience. So, I mean, really, it's kind of a win-win for me to drop my season ticket from the Rapids and go through C38. So at this point, it would just help me open my eyes to why before I really couldn't do it, but now I can. So everything just kind of works out.
What we're looking at here for a low end is about $340 for a season ticket, and that's one ticket. Usually you're probably going to look at getting 2 tickets.
Right. So
on the high end, you're at $1,530, which I think is crazy. So that averages out to $20 per game and $90 per game, respectively.
Dang.
Yeah, it's
Thank you, Rapids
a
PR
lot,
department.
but for me personally, I kind of have accepted that. It's, I don't want to say this. You do get a lot outside of just the price for the game.
And there are people, like, look at other fandoms outside of soccer, or even within soccer outside of the MLS. But let's look at, like, baseball fans. You look at those guys, and they'll have season tickets their entire life, no matter how terrible or good the team does.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the type of fan that I want around me. I want that fan to bitch and moan when they're doing bad. I don't mind the outward aggression about it, but especially with an owner like Kroenke, if all of a sudden everybody stops buying tickets, he's just going to move the damn team. Like, that's because he could literally just sell it. Oh, look, new MLS team out wherever the hell he puts them.
I don't know.
Where he owns
Garber
land.
said he's about done.
Yeah, I don't know if he's got that. You can do that.
Might be a little different now in
Yeah.
MLS. But
Move to Miami.
Just to piss off.
well, then I'm going with it.
But, like, I feel that more outward stuff, posting, yelling, screaming, being mad in the stadium, or doing whatever is better than not putting your money into the team. And that, I don't know, that's just my personal preference. I would rather continue to still go to the games, even if they're doing poor. Whether I'm mad or angry about it, I'm still a fan of the team. And I have been since '96, so I've been through poorer years than this.
Good on you, man. No, seriously, good for you.
No, I mean, well, I think Austin and I both are really there since the beginning, but this team has had its ups and downs, and some of its ups were with KSE, and some of them were without. But this season isn't the worst, and it definitely isn't, a reason
Even
to sit
mediocre?
there. Yeah, I mean, it's just it's another frustrating season, and you feel bad for the guys who really are trying hard to do a good job, because there are a lot of people in the organization, including players and coaches and staff, all of them, that really are trying to do a really good job. It's just, unfortunately, you can only do so much there when you're only given so much.
I think the sting is so bad because of how well we did.
Yeah.
I
The
think
expectation
that
was
the factor
higher.
that we just crushed it last season, and then this season we've just tanked it. We went from one extreme to the other.
last year.
And so, like, if they'd gone mid of the table, even if they'd just not made the playoffs and been, like, close and fighting for it at the end, I think people would still be like, okay, they've said they're going to open up some money. They had to get rid of some players. Juan Ramirez was still on our freaking payroll and stuff like that, so they could make those excuses. But to literally take what was basically the same exact team and go from second place at the end of the season to second to last place,
Well, that's a pattern there. I mean, that's really kind of what they do. Like, oh, you had this great team. We don't need to spend anything more than what you have right now to keep the team where it's at. And so, you know, they were only left with what was left over in TAM and allocation money from stuff before, and we were able to get Nana, and that was pretty much it. And maybe, you know, we did have a couple things that fell through because of who knows what. You know, there was a failed medical and some other things that kind of fell off the table, and maybe that helped us get Aigner. But we'll never know how certain things played out. But I really don't feel like they were given a whole lot to work with at the end of last year, beginning of this year. And I think that came from the top, saying you don't need to spend much more than what you already have. And I've heard multiple comments made by people inside the organization saying this is what happens when you don't spend money after having a good season. Look at Portland, or look at Columbus. Look at some of these other teams that had that same mentality of, we almost got this. We don't really need to go out and spend a whole lot of money and make big noises right now. We just need to and maybe that was a little bit of them being naive, or maybe that's just how KSE does things, but that's what happened. I think we only were able to do so much.
Well, let's look at the excuses. We'll throw out some excuses to try and be on the, I guess, not positive, but positive side for the Rapid. You lost Nana after 90 minutes of play to a broken back. You've lost Gashi for basically the entire season on and off due to an Achilles injury. You lost Schuberg quite a few games due to his own injury. You lost Bobby Burling. We've lost a lot of people that were significant in last year's abilities and how well we did. And I think that when you take that into account, I still think we should be doing better than we're doing. But with all of those type of injuries, if any team was having 2 or 3 of their DPs being injured for most of the season, that would significantly affect it.
It makes it more understandable, but it doesn't make it excusable.
No, yeah, exactly. We should still be in the playoff hunt, even if we're just slightly outside of it. The fact that we're literally at the bottom of the table, just struggling not to be last, is highly disappointing, even because we still have talent on the team outside of those players. So we've given up a lot of points we shouldn't have.
Yeah, well, that's kind of unfortunately where we are at, and it sucks, but yeah, well, good time to move forward. We have Dallas this week.
Well, I hate this call. I don't have any other stuff.
Oh, yeah. I mean, is there more numbers you want to throw out there? Because, I mean, there's a lot of numbers there that, like, you put together, and I kind of wish we had a visual.
Yeah. I don't know, a couple things I just want to point out. DU, great soccer team. You can get season tickets there for $55. It averages out to $5 a game. That's an incredibly good price.
Speaking of them,
there you go. Nice segue.
They are offering us $3 a ticket for the August 28th and I believe August 31st. That's a Friday and a Monday, if I'm correct on that. So go if you want to go watch some good soccer. They're, from what I've heard, 3rd in Division 1 right now. So it'd be good, some good soccer, good college soccer, and you should go hang out if you have the time. Really, that's dirt cheap to go into a stadium, even a college stadium.
And for $2 more, you pretty much can buy a season ticket if you like what you see. Look at that, advertising for our local guys, and we're not getting shit back. Continue, my son.
Yeah. What was surprising was season tickets. The absolute worst season tickets you can get are for the Denver Nuggets.
Explain.
At the high end, you could get season tickets for 41 games this season, averaging out to $167 per game.
Jesus, Mary and Joseph. Have you
For
guys
the
been?
Nuggets?
Have you guys been to a
Yeah,
Nuggets
for
game
the Nuggets.
lately? Anybody?
I haven't been to a Nuggets game since they were at McNichols.
Yeah. How about you guys?
I've never been to a Nuggets game.
I've been to a few on and off just because I got given free tickets. But my dad used to
Yeah.
have season tickets back when they were at McNichols, back in like the McDice era too, during that time. But
John's been
Yeah, I don't
twice
go to
this
games.
year.
I've gone to a few, and God, I used to be a huge NBA fan, and living in the Midwest, I was a Nuggets fan of all things. But
It was free.
but God, man, it's just it's not a fun experience as a sporting event. It's more like a WWE. People are there for the show.
It's gone commercial.
It's
It's the personality, not the game.
it is. It's terrible. Anyway,
Wow.
talking about flopping, that's a sport that has some flopping in it.
they do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that's definitely true.
it hurts harder when you land on a hardwood floor than it does a grass pitch.
But they can't get cards for it, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, anything else from you, Colin?
Yeah, the thing I was going to get at is I'd say the closest thing to like a one-to-one comparison I would make, admittedly, to another sport here is really with the Avs. They average out to about $20 per ticket for a season ticket, and over $100 to the high end. But I'd say that's probably the closest comparison here. But the difference there is, admittedly, you have 41 games this season as opposed to our 16,
Well, and not only that, the food's
17?
better.
17.
The food at the Pepsi Center is better. And maybe that's just because when I go to Avalanche games, I prefer to go in the second level, which is the club level.
Yeah, I was
But-
gonna say their nosebleeds suck though.
Yeah,
The food's
that's what I'm
better.
saying.
Pretty
Like,
rough.
But
if you're looking at $20 a ticket in the nosebleed section compared to our $20 a ticket, like you're still what would be lower level in the Pepsi Center in any ticket in the Rapid Stadium.
Yeah.
right.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well,
Yeah.
just saying.
I know. Just kind
Sure.
of interesting here.
Speaking of season tickets, we're selling them for $255 and $117 right now. And let me double check my numbers in 108 real quick.
That's a pretty good deal.
$357 in 108 now.
So it's
those
$100
prices probably
extra
aren't
for
gonna stick around.
a seat.
For a seat,
Oh, I
and you're
see.
at half line, so the view is way better. To be
Huh.
honest.
How much is that
So it's $355 to be at
$357.
108.
in 108?
360.
Hmm.
Pretty much, just round up.
Hmm.
And then
About $21 a
$260.
ticket.
Now
To
those are going to
stand.
change
next year.
shortly. Yeah, so when I don't know when that cutoff's going to happen, but if you want to get yourself on a ticket plan, we do monthly plans through the end of next season, so you can just jump on and basically pay per month, and that equates to like $15 a month or something like that. So now's the time to really get them, because they're going to go up, probably not a significant amount, but they're going to go up because we're going to probably be charged more. So
And if you want to do that, who and how should you go about that?
you go to c38sg.com, and then there's a nice little drop down that says buy tickets, and you can choose your section. And then in 108, you'll get to choose your seat at the beginning of the year, usually like January timeframe, because the current season ticket holders get to keep their seat if they choose to, and there's a deadline for that. So, but yeah,
He's very hand gestury.
hand gesturing.
And for those who want to know, could you talk about switching sections from 108 to 117?
Oh yeah, so you can with any ticket, you can technically switch between any of our sections. We also own a close in 116, so you can sit over. They're a little bit more pricey than 117 because you actually get a seat, but they're at the top. And they're not the whole section down low. But yeah, you can literally go between any of our sections. 108, if you want to come over there, you'll have to just take whatever open seats are available. 117 obviously is just general admin, so you can just walk over there from 108 and hang out, and that's like you can get both experiences, which is really cool. I do that a lot.
Well, and the tailgate too. Like John said, no comparison. Best tailgate ever. Just got to plug our work, you know.
It's really the DJs that create that great atmosphere.
Yeah.
It was better last year, but whatever.
It was way better last year when we actually had people to interview and stuff.
Well, Brian
like that.
showed up every once in a while.
Right.
Yeah.
We just completely flew right over the Dallas game.
Oh, yeah, there's a game this week then.
Well, do we need to talk about it?
Well, we should, considering that's kind of what we do on the podcast.
Should I do the other news first before we get into that?
Yeah, since you've been pumping C38 for the last 5 minutes or so.
I guess we'll go with it. So Salt Lake away tickets deadline that's on August 26th are this week to get tickets and to get on the bus. So if you want to get on that, I get on it quickly. And I know that we already have one bus sold out and a significant amount of the second bus sold out. So if you want on that second bus, I'd get in now. And then we are encouraging people to stick around on the August 19th game. The Special Olympics will be playing there, and I believe we're actually going to do a TIFO. So if you guys want to hang out for that game, that'd be great.
Is
That's
that
all my
it?
announcements. That's
All
it.
right.
I was expecting more, but it's all right.
Yeah. Okay. So, well, Dallas. It's not going to be the debut for Aigner. So let's just make sure that those who
Skip that.
asked
Yeah.
that.
I'd
are
rather
on
him
that.
debut at home anyway.
Pump the
Well,
brakes.
I would think so. If there's any chance of a big, promising, good, media happy, fan happy debut, let's try everything we can to have him ready for next week when we're here at home.
Is he even training? I mean, I'll find out tomorrow.
Well,
but
that's what I heard last week was they expect him Wednesday this week. So I plan on heading out there tomorrow. We'll see.
I don't know.
So
visa paperwork didn't sound like it was going
well,
smoothly.
and yeah, everyone I chatted to and everything I overheard, no one was confident in the visa process,
Right.
and it was let's blame the Trump administration and the lack of people being employed. And well,
I mean, that's a consideration when signing people going forward. You gotta think of that stuff.
but when you announce a signature at the end of the month, that doesn't do us any good. If you had announced it at the beginning of the month, if it had happened earlier, then, that bought us some more time, especially when we had that little bit of an international break. Like, if we had had that guy's signature at the beginning of the month.
He'd be playing already?
No.
Well, even if worst case, like visa bullshit, he'd be at least in camp. We'd know what number, well, we know what number he wears now, but we would actually have pictures of the guy.
Well, there were some other things involved too that weren't just paperwork.
Well, I mean, you're moving a dude from Germany to here, and there's negotiations, and
Yeah, I mean, with the process would have taken that
Yeah.
anyway, time wise. But like you said, I don't know that we'll see him for more than 6 games because you know how it is when people come here.
yep,
They don't see the fields for the first month,
yeah,
at least.
yeah. And I mean, even if they do, it's going to be minutes in the end of the game, and it's we just Pablo has the only person who's ever gotten plugged in right away is Tim Howard.
Yeah,
And look at it. It's going to be a problem because outside of the factor that he should have been signed earlier, like he's going to come in and we're already probably going to be mathematically out of the playoffs.
Yes,
So
we are.
now it's
almost
just
already.
like
The-
he's going to
yeah.
be playing with the B squad. as
We're
they
a
try
coke
out.
nail hanging on to the playoff hopes. I mean, there's really nothing left to hope and hold on to. So,
Like he's not going to get to play with. We're not going to continue to see the starters at that point. You're going to start seeing him messing with people, putting a bunch of other players in to try and see who's worth their money or who they should keep next year, trying to get some trade bait out there for some of our younger players. Like, once we're out of the playoffs, that's what you're going to see. And so he's going to be playing with that. And then, like, how do you judge him based on that when you're surrounded by a bunch of people that haven't been playing together?
I don't know, dude. I think we're just going to continue to get what Pablo puts out on the pitch, no matter where we are on the table.
Yeah.
Well, we saw that in 2015. So I just, all we can do is hope for a good game every week. And going into Dallas this week, with them being on a 2-game losing streak, I'd like to think that Pablo would love to stick it to Omar or Oscar at home, or Oscar at his home in Dallas. And it would be even better for us to actually pick up a point.
Well, let's face it, though. Oscar's going to have their shit together. After losing twice, they aren't going to go on a 3-game losing streak.
I don't know if Oscar's gone on a 3-game losing streak. He could have. I don't know. I haven't really paid attention. But
yeah, he did when he coached for us.
All right, then. That's a possibility. Just saying.
So, chat and all
Yeah,
this.
what are those guys
What
been
do you
doing?
think?
Wake up, chat.
What do you think the score is going to be? We'll start with Brian.
We lose 2-0.
Colin?
I think we're going to lose 2-1.
1-0 loss.
1-0 loss. I am going to go with a 2-1 win because I'm going to try and be positive.
We're trying to be truthful, man. Fake news. Fake news.
You are fake news.
Yeah, and when I'm right, Brennan's going to bleach his beard.
There's
I like that.
Okay. I mean, there really isn't much there right now, but
I'll bleach mine.
okay. McLeave says we lose 1-0. Zima says 2-1 win.
Zima's drunk. Don't let him kid you.
All right.
And you thought I was sober? Like, what is that?
His name is literally Drunken Monk.
And we hold him to it. We use everybody else's first names because we have sober moments in our lives. But
Oh, and our camera guy and web designer says 2-0 loss.
Oh,
Damn,
Johnny.
John.
Johnny, what's up?
Come on, Johnny.
Hey,
I haven't talked
You
to
don't
you in a
think we're gonna get a
while.
goal there?
he's hoping to make it out for the next home game.
I
which
will
would be
actually
great,
be at
so.
the next home game,
All right.
finally.
Well, good.
Hey, and just real quick, shout out Millers. What's up?
My whole crew might be out on the next home game. Woo woo.
Yeah.
That includes Tam and Nina, by the way.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Lock
Oh,
up your
man.
liquor
Right,
cabinet.
right. If you want some extra entertainment, make sure to stop by the DJ booth.
Nice.
All right. Well, so it's not a whole lot to look forward to, I guess, as we break down the Dallas game, because it's really just, I don't know. This is maybe where we're at in the season, and just kind of with everything happening, it's on the one foot of checking out and the other foot of, come on, show me something to like keep this going here. We're down the backstretch of the season. This could be fun for us all. I
We
mean,
only have, 12 games left? 11?
well,
Something like that.
we've played 21. Or no, that's points. But that's also how many games played we
Yeah,
have.
well, 1 point a game. So we have 11 games left.
Yep.
So what I would like to see in the last games is to have a winning record. Even if we don't make the playoffs, which it probably isn't going to happen. We have to win 2/3 of our games
Yeah.
to make the playoffs right now. And so I just want to see us have a winning record. I want to see us try and fight.
So-
I just want to see that.
Is winning record to you over 500?
Yes.
Or are you saying a winning record over
So-
these next 11 games?
So yeah, you need.
Next 11 games.
So
Next
you
11
need to
games, I
have
wanna see.
6 wins in the next 11 games.
Or 5-5-1. I'm okay with 500. I will
Yeah.
accept that.
Just to give you a
But
good taste
5
in your mouth.
wins at least.
Yeah.
Just to give you a jump start on next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're going to get, if you can do that, you can show the fan base that we do have the talent and we just had a bad season and maybe some of these fans come back next year. Because if you don't, you're just going to continue to see people just not buying season tickets, and we have nothing to sell. Literally nothing. And imagine our off season talking about a crappy end of the season and a whole crap of the season, and then nobody signed until February.
Well, I I stutter sometimes when I'm trying to get a thought out really fast. I said it in May, or even sooner than that we should not be surprised if we don't really see a whole lot of big moves this year, and that the Juan Ramirez being on our roster was kind of holding us down, and not to expect anything until after that. Then, Pablo says something in an article and people go off and go crazy. And then we kind of have this transfer window, and hopefully people are starting to listen to us now, and they're not really just flying off the handle as much because reality is starting to set in. But it's going to continue to happen. Not a whole lot of big things are going to happen until after the draft next year. Once the draft takes place and we've kind of got what we've got, that's when I think the front office is going to be able to start making some moves and start making some inquiries to some players and doing some things to hopefully follow through on what happened wrong this year. But I wonder at what point, will people be that patient? But that's really kind of when the action is going to happen. So we're going to talk a lot of like Halloween and Harry Potter crap come October, November, and December. It's just going to turn somewhat a Harry Potter cast probably by the time postseason runs around.
All right, guys. Well, let's let you all go and let Brian go. And thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow us on all of our awesome social media.
Good to be back. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. All right.
Also,
oh, yep. Kill it.
I was just going to say, it's apparently Marcelo Balboa's birthday today. So happy birthday to him.
Happy birthday, 17.
Morning, it's another pure gray morning. Don't know what the day is holding. And I get up right when I walk right into the path of the lightning.